We are back.
We're back.
Ruminations, Revelations, episode 9. So I'm guessing.
I believe you.
I think 8 was your feminism one.
Was it?
Yep.
Why was it my feminism one?
Because you went ham on that.
Yeah?
Yep.
Too intense?
I mean, I
Okay.
had to bleep that out, but 30 seconds in and I'm already dropping an F-bomb. I mean, that's how I feel, though. I don't know.
It's my opinions.
Yep.
I want people to be happy, but not at the detriment of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got I see you got your Kindle.
I do. So, over the last month, I've processed a lot, thought about a lot of things, and we have been doing it, but I've really been paying attention to how people say things. Like, it started with you pointing it out in emails, and I started paying attention to it, and then started doing it with you, started doing it with myself, the way the kids say things. So yeah, I've really delved into that, and I am tired of everybody and their mom being traumatized by a narcissist. It is not statistically possible
Right.
for every single person to email into us and say, I've been with 3 separate narcissists and they've all whatever.
Well, they say that only 1 in 200 people are a narcissist, according to the stats that I looked at.
So the statistics, so it is agreed that at minimum 1% of the population has diagnosed narcissistic personality disorder.
The population of the world or of the United States?
Of the world.
Okay, so out of
the highest
8
is
billion.
6%.
Okay.
At what?
Did you math that?
Yeah, I have it.
I was gonna see what what the 1 and what number was.
So if it's at 6% of the world population is diagnosed NPD, 0.5% would be in America.
Okay, so not even a full percent.
Right.
But what does that number come out to? 1 in how many people?
You were right with the 1 in 200.
Okay.
So the percentages that's what that is. I actually have that in my notes to talk about.
Okay.
So I was sitting on the porch before I came in here and I was thinking, I am not invalidating people's experiences in any of this. I believe that you were traumatized by somebody. I believe that you had really shitty experiences with somebody. Do I believe that person was a full-fledged narcissist? No.
Right.
So, all right. So I'm going to start this the way I have with anything, and we're going to define what narcissism means.
Okay. Before you do that,
Okay.
we did a video way early on about narcissism to an extent.
Right.
And I know things have changed because we are now more informed than we were. But I still stand by my point that I made in that first video that we did, that everyone on the planet has a narcissistic tendency to a point, because it is a survival tactic.
That's true.
We have to look out for ourselves. So there is a difference between having narcissistic tendencies and being a defined narcissistic personality disorder.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. So I went to Google like anybody would, and definition of narcissism. From the Oxford Dictionary, it says excessive interest in or adoration of oneself or one's physical appearance. That's the definition. I made a very side note and I was like, that's a very shallow statement. You'd think the very first definition would touch on, I don't know, the mental manipulation everybody talks about when it comes to narcissism. Okay. I also searched the definition of admiration, and that is the respect or warm approval or something regarded as impressive or worthy of respect.
Okay, so based off of those 2 definitions that you just read, somebody who is a narcissist is somebody who has self-esteem, is confident in their abilities, and are proud of the way they look.
Yeah,
by definition.
Say, definitely, yeah.
So
what I took from that was somebody who's just fucking full of themselves.
Right. And that
like,
could very well be
nose in the air.
Right. But how often do you hear people hating on themselves? I'm too fat, I'm too ugly, my teeth are fucked up. Like, very rarely do people have a high self-esteem of themselves. And when they do, people are like, oh, he's cocky. Maybe people just feel good about themselves and like have got that self-esteem. And by that definition, people who feel good about themselves are a narcissist.
Yeah.
So here's a conspiracy theory.
Ooh.
Knowing that our hormones are fucked up, right? Knowing that we are eating food that is not actual food, it's food-like products, which is fucking with our genetic makeup. Food cooked in microwaves and that are in plastic containers can release BPAs that can actually cause testicular issues, including cancer. All of these things that are happening.
I'm going to pause you on that. My mom has breast cancer. Doesn't run in the family. Nobody knows how she got it. Doctors can't confirm it. She said the amount of young women ages between 18 and 25 with breast cancer is astounding. And it does not run in families.
Right. Now, you factor on the depression. People, because our food's not real.
Right.
That's fucking with our mental health. Our hormones are fucked up, also fucking with the mental health. So now we're getting tons of meds from Big Pharma. Got to make sure that you stay on your drugs.
Yeah.
And now you're depressed. You have no self-worth and you feel horrible. So when you see somebody who actually feels good about themselves and is confident, they're the fucking problem because they're not miserable like you are. Can you see how that would play out? Because that could be a very real thing.
I feel so much better about the people who hate us. Also, I see the things that make you guys cheer. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, all of that makes absolute sense. I get a lot of shit for being who I am. Friends talking behind my back just because I have the level of success I do, level of happiness I do.
The jealousy is fucking real.
Yeah. That's why I have a very, very small circle of people.
We do have a pretty dope circle now, though.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So I went on and I was like, okay, what's the psychology definition of narcissism?
Okay.
It is the selfishness involving a sense of entitlement, a lack of empathy, and a need for admiration. Why would that not be the first definition that pops up if we are talking about the way that a narcissist mentally affects their victim? Because that's the blanket statement everybody is using for their mental trauma, verbal trauma.
Right. Because
they're a narcissist.
Because people want to put the clinical diagnosis of a narcissistic personality disorder on everyone who doesn't do what they want to do.
Yeah.
The first part of that, can you read the very first part of that?
Selfishness involving a sense of entitlement.
Oh, yeah. So like almost everyone?
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to be the one to apologize. He needs to.
Right. Right.
I'm allowed to do this because I'm mom. You can't question me. And then I went a little bit further than that, and the psychoanalysis definition of narcissism is self-centeredness arising from failure to distinguish the self from external objects, which is a very rare thing for narcissists. They think that, for example, their child is an extension of them like an arm or a leg. So I did that whole dive down the definition of narcissism to show that the first thing presented to you is not always correct.
Right.
You have to deep dive things. If somebody came to me and described a narcissistic relationship of the screaming and the yelling and the mental abuse and the physical abuse, whatever is happening, the manipulation, mind games, and then I went and I Googled narcissism and read excessive interest in or adoration of oneself and one's physical appearance, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not...
Right.
That's not the same thing, right? Nowadays, almost anyone will tell you, oh my God, my ex was such an abusive narc. It's not just being a narcissist. Everyone has a level of narcissistic tendencies. Like you've said, it is a survival instinct, right? Back when we were hunting for our food, if there was two tribes going after one thing, if we're on bad terms, fuck all y'all. I'm feeding my own.
It's about us, right? But there's also studies that were done that explain that if your brain determines that you're hungry and you eat, you are technically feeding that narcissism because you are looking out for yourself first.
Yeah.
People get real hung up on that. I got a whole lot of hate on that last time I said that. The study's the study.
People are just too weak-minded.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you guys something, and if you've never heard of this and you've just been using the word narcissist, here's some enlightenment. There is something called narcissistic personality disorder, right? Narcissistic personality disorder is a very rare disorder. Like I said, prior studies have shown that between 1% to 6% of the population has narcissistic personality disorder. So at the high end of it, 0.5% of the American population would be considered narcissistic. Brain studies show that people with narcissistic personality disorder have less volume of gray matter in the left anterior insula of the brain. So that is the part of the brain that controls empathy, compassion, emotional regulation, and cognitive function.
6% of 8 billion is 480 million people.
Mm-hmm.
That's at the high.
Right.
So that's a very, very low percentage of people when you really think about that.
It is. And there is not an agreed philosophy of how narcissistic personality disorder develops, but it could be caused by a mix of genes, childhood abuse, and psychological factors, such as excessive praise from parents or constant judgment from the parents, trauma or abuse, low self-esteem, and the inability to handle stress. A little story. The God sentenced Narcissus, I hope I'm saying that right, to a life without human love. He fell in love with his own reflection in a pool of water and died hungry for its response. So, like in the story, the narcissist can only love themselves as they are reflected in the eyes of the people near them. So if the perception of the narcissist shatters their reflection, they retaliate.
So they don't like it when they realize that the person looking at them in the mirror is not the person actually looking back at them.
So what they have is an illusion of themselves. Right. And the illusion of themselves is what's reflected back to them from other people. Once, for example, say a boyfriend starts to catch on to things and point out problems that are directly correlated to the actions of the narcissistic partner, they're going to start being like, oh, they are seeing me for what I am. They're looking past my illusion now. So it's a mixture of panic. Narcissists are very impaired. That's actually the next thing, so I'll just read it. People with NPD are significantly impaired. They seek excessively for validation and self-esteem boosts. They lack empathy and more than likely do not have any deep, meaningful relationships. And they also have a very just deep-seated insecurity and hatred of themselves. So once that, they know that they feel that way. They know that's how they are. So they put on that front of ignoring that I am this. And once the people around them start to stop looking up and they start looking down, that's when that retaliation comes in. Make sense?
Yep.
All right. So how is narcissistic personality disorder diagnosed? So there are 8 factors that go into diagnosing a narcissistic personality disorder. The person has to meet 5 of these traits to be diagnosed as a narcissist. And of course, all of these have to be to an extreme.
Move your mic down a little bit.
All of these have to be to an extreme.
You can still continue talking loud, but
okay.
You were blocking your face with the microphone.
So the first one is an exaggerated sense of self-importance. I know I'm important. That doesn't make me a narcissist. It is when it comes to that extreme, I'm more important than everybody else. If there's a house on fire, I'm getting me out because I'm important. That's when that treads into that. Okay, that's tack 1. The next one is fantasies of great success, power, attractiveness, beauty, or ideal love. I
see both of these as everyone's life.
Right. I do that. I fantasize about our empire.
It's called goal setting.
Right. I fantasize about what our love's going to be like in 10 years. I think about that shit. That doesn't make me a narcissist. It comes into the extreme levels when that fantasy does not mirror their actions. So if someone's sitting at home playing video games all day and says one day I'm going to be a millionaire and they're living their life as if they're going to be a fucking millionaire, that's when that can bleed into that, okay, tack number 2.
Right.
It is illogical fantasies of great success, just expecting it to happen to you because you're so amazing and so important.
Okay. But in wording it that way, it changes
right
what that is, because both of those, 1 and 2, are both normal functions.
Yes.
There are a lot of people who are not willing to put themselves in harm's way to help other people because self-preservation.
Right.
And the second one of those is almost everyone. Everyone has dreams and aspirations. Just a lot of people don't have the work ethic to get it.
Right.
But those same people also want to shit on people who have that success and be jealous and fucking,
Right.
belittling because they haven't done the work to fucking get where other people are.
Yeah. That's why I added in all of it is to an extreme of it, because people have these traits. Back to that first one with an exaggerated sense of self-importance. If I am in the middle of like a shootout in a gas station and I see an exit, I'm getting myself out.
Self-preservation.
I am not, hey, guys, this way. Like,
Right.
I am not drawing attention to myself. I have 2 children at home. If somebody happens to see me going that way and you follow suit, good for you. You have situational awareness.
Right. I see nothing wrong with that.
So number 3 is believing themselves to be special and only being able to be understood by others who are on that same level of I'm special. So that whole believing themselves to be special and only being able to be understood by those who are also special very much gives me like the hardcore leftist vibes.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. I was going to insert the my favorite thing from Fight Club.
Yeah.
You are not a unique snowflake. You are the same dying organic matter as everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what that gives me.
Yeah. Leftists and liberals are not the same thing. Liberals are left, but leftists are extreme.
Okay. So it's the hardcore leftist.
Right.
Extreme feminism gives me that kind of
Yeah.
health at every size gives me that vibe. Number 4 is a sense of entitlement. I feel a sense of entitlement in my life.
Do you?
I do.
How?
Title to you? No. So a sense of entitlement that I do feel in my life is, while you were handling that phone call, I Googled entitlement just to make sure before I started spouting shit. So definitional entitlement is the fact of having a right to something, the amount to which a person has a right, the belief that one is inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment.
Yeah.
As your wife, I am entitled to your attention that no other woman gets. As my man, you are entitled to a piece of me that nobody in this world will ever get. I don't look at another man the way I look at you.
Right.
My kids are entitled to a piece of me as their mother that nobody else will ever see.
I don't think that when I hear the word entitlement, I don't think about that.
Yeah.
Like that. I see it very differently than what you just explained.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So you just said that you do not view entitlement the way that I just said it.
No, I don't. I view it the way that it was described in the beginning of that.
Okay.
I should have free health care. I should have this. I shouldn't have to pay for my college. I shouldn't have to blah, 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 blah.
That's when it can start to bleed into that narcissistic higher tendency of things.
Right. And I agree 100% that that's exactly entitlement. Nobody fucking owes you anything. Just because you live and exist doesn't mean that other people have to give you their time and services for free because you think you fucking deserve it.
Yep.
I ain't working for free.
See how what I talked about was a healthy form of it?
Right.
And you went to the extreme with it.
Right.
I'm really glad that we have the platform that we do.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it changes lives.
That scares the shit out of me. Knowing that you think it's my whole generation.
I do believe it's your whole generation.
I mean, like, I believe that too. I see it.
It's the participation trophies. It was I was hugged too much or not enough. It was my trauma. Poor me, pity me, give me everything because I was abused.
Yeah, I was
because
that person.
somebody said mean things to me. You have to cater to my bullshit. Like,
you're right. I was that person. And looking back at how I used to be, somebody could 100% have labeled me as a narcissist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I would cause drama and then expect you to comfort me.
Don't you have to have 5 out of 9 tendencies to be a narcissist?
Yes, you do. But by the definition of today's standards, I could have 100%. Someone could have looked at me and said a narcissist, and a million people would have been like, yeah, she's a narcissist.
Yeah. Well, that's 4. So let's see what the other 5 are and see how many of those actually tie into that so that you can say whether or not you were actually a narcissist at one point.
A need for constant admiration or attention. Next to that, I wrote, pick me girls, ? I was that as well, yeah. I was very much that. Young teenager seeking approval of men. Yeah. Yep. Number 6, taking advantage of others, envying others, or believing others envy them. And I highlighted taking advantage of others, and next to it, I wrote, OF creators, ? I want to touch back on number 5. So a need for constant admiration or attention. So in relationships, we hear constantly that women are not getting enough attention from their man. So they are seeking that attention from their man.
Right.
At a level, it is normal and healthy to want that admiration and attention from the person you're supposed to be spending the rest of your life with, for example. Maybe your mom. Say your mom gives your... Okay, never mind. I don't want to tell that story, but I am going to give a hypothetical. So, growing up, I've always heard stories of my mom is always nicer to my best friend when they come over. There is that want for attention and admiration from mom. Why are you giving it to my best friend when I'm right here and you treat me like shit when she's not here? I don't understand.
Right.
So there is an underlying healthy level of that attention seeking. Once again, once it hits that extreme, that's when it can become that next tack on the board for narcissistic. All right, so number 7 says arrogance or haughtiness. Hoitiness? Hoitness?
Haughty. H-A-U.
Yes.
I heard haughtiness.
I think that's what I said.
And I'm like, you definitely got that.
Oh, that's me. Are you talking about me?
Well, put that back on.
It's going to show you my shoulder. So, hoidiness is arrogantly superior and having a disdain. And we just had a conversation that we cut because I don't want to show that much weakness on camera. So it boiled down to I am really good at poker. And I have a confidence about me with my poker. And you just enlightened me with the definition of arrogance so I could fully understand the difference of...
being arrogant versus being confident.
Correct.
So... and I guess I should reiterate it for the podcast. Having confidence is having an ability that you can back up and not rubbing it in people's faces. Mm-hmm. You know what you're capable of doing. You don't have to brag and be boisterous and like have an over exaggerated sense of self-worth because of it. And that's the difference between arrogance and confidence.
Arrogance is the exaggerated.
Yeah. It's boisterous. It's let me throw it in your face. Hey, everybody come look how good I look, you know.
Hey, everyone! Come and see how good I look!
Yeah, the kids get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
I don't play that game.
I'm super, super big on humility. It's why when people pay me compliments, I'm so fucking uncomfortable with it. What?
Do you have another thought behind that?
I did, but it's gone now.
Okay, I'm so sorry. When somebody pays you a compliment, they're giving you a gift.
Yeah.
And when you go, oh, no, that's not me. You are literally taking their gift and you're throwing it away.
Have you ever seen people give me gifts?
You take gifts from me.
What happens to most of the time when people give me gifts? I'm not very gracious about it, and 9 times out of 10, I throw it in the garbage. So your little thing there solidifies my humility and my discomfort.
That didn't go the way I wanted it to.
Somebody gave me a bottle of bourbon the other day.
Yeah.
I was pretty excited about that.
That was pretty dope.
It's stuck in the cabinet down there.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. I am really hard to shop for. I know it's really not relevant, and I know what you're going for, but I don't do well with compliments. I don't want an inflated ego. I don't want people to ever put me in a position where I might feel superior to another person, because I know that no matter how much I know, I can learn from other people. And I don't want to have that I'm better than you and I know it mentality, because when I have that, I'm not going to listen and digest what people are telling me, and I'm going to miss something that could potentially change my life in an everyday conversation. What was it that was said in Ready Player One? Some people can read War and Peace and think that it's a great novel, and others can read the back of a shampoo bottle and unlock the mysteries of the universe, right? Like, you should always be willing to listen, and like, so that's why I'm so hard with the compliments.
Yeah.
I don't want to have an ego, or I don't know. I want to be more one than anyone.
You're more one than anyone.
What about my medallion of spiritual accomplishment?
Take mine.
I get it. And then number 8 is lacking empathy. There are certain situations that I certainly lack empathy in.
Same.
Yeah. I lack an empathy for alcoholics. I could keep going, but I'm going to stop. I don't want to piss off a bunch of people.
Okay.
But that is if that is one of the 5 things that falls into you're going to be diagnosed with NPD, it has to be to an extreme level. If 2 people are having an interaction and it's a man and a woman gets mugged in front of the man, he sees it happening, fucks around on his phone, walks away. There is zero empathy there.
Well, I mean, that's 90% of society right now. When you really think about it,
That
how quick are people like, oh shit, they're fighting. Record this shit. World star. Like,
Wow, there is a lot of lack of empathy happening.
yeah, because we're taught to mind our own business and not get involved in other people's shit. People don't have empathy anymore.
No.
That falls into having morals and being brought up right.
Do you think that should just fall off the list then? Because it's so prevalent in today's society, there's no empathy?
No, I don't. I think that's a very, it needs to be a talking point is what
Yeah.
it needs to be. It's one of those things that people are so quick to just mind their own business. And a lot of that comes down to fear. What would happen if I intervened? What if they hit me? What if they hurt me? What if blah, blah, blah? What if I get canceled?
So symptoms, this is a longer list than the diagnosing of narcissistic personality disorder. So because this list is so expansive, a lot of people might fall into this category without being diagnosed as a narcissist. So symptoms, 1, superior to lower status people, maybe like Lizzo.
What would be the status?
It could be anything. It could be a made up status in their mind that they think that they're just one level higher above everybody else. Nobody understands me because I'm so fucking intelligent. And then maybe some other random incel on the internet spews whatever nonsense they agree with, and they're like, that's the guy. He's on the same level. He's on status with me.
So then if somebody was a really good artist and somebody was not a really good artist, and the really good artist was like, I'm way better than they are. Does that fall into that category?
It could. I would view that as thinking that you're better than me.
Okay.
Think you're superior than me. Ooh, oh my God.
But that's
Hang on, I need a second. That word, I just had shit unlocked. I need a second. My best friend all through high school would look at me dead in the face and constantly tell me I'm superior to you. And that contributed to my self-esteem issues. And I'm trying not to cry.
Don't do it, babe. Don't cry.
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
It's all right.
I know for a fact that she's not a narcissist, but she said that shit, so. Oh, wow. That's wild. First bullet point already applies to somebody in my personal life who has affected me in a negative manner, and I know for a fact that that person's not a narcissist.
That I am better than you at certain things, or I'm better than this person at something, or I view myself as better than them because if they actually are better than them because it's not a superiority complex.
Yeah. If there's the
It's
actions
facts.
to back it up.
Right. If I'm the hardest worker in the room and my tax return shows it, and I'm like, step your fucking game up, bro. Like, you could do better. And like a year from now, I've leveled up 10 times and they're still right where they're at. I'm going to be like, I'm better than they are.
Yeah.
I'm better at my job than they are. I'm better at sales than they are. I've got a better house than they do because I have a different work ethic. Now, that same conversation could be flipped and say, well, maybe their priorities weren't the same. Maybe their priority is to stay exactly where they are because they're making enough money to survive, and they go kayaking every weekend, or they go hunting every weekend, or they go take their kids to sport games every weekend, or whatever they're doing. And they could also look at me and go, his family life is fucked. All he does is work. He's chasing the dollar while I'm chasing my life. I'm better than he is.
Yeah. Perspective.
It is perspective, and that's normal behavior, because what matters to you may not matter to another person, and this is why you shouldn't judge a book by its cover.
Yep. Number 2 is constantly fantasizing about power, success, and intelligence.
I do that shit constantly.
Yeah.
Yep. Number 2 checked 100%. Constantly. I wake up in the middle of the night at like 3 o'clock in the morning to pee, and I'm thinking about that level up.
Yeah.
How can I make more money? How can I just skyrocket us into the next thing? How can I make Joe Rogan my bitch? No, I'm just kidding. Don't beat me up, Joe. I'm not even on your radar, bro. I know that you could choke me out. We're not doing that. It was a joke.
He does very much respect you.
I want those numbers though.
Me too. I think about that shit too. Now that I'm coming out of my depression, and I feel like I've leveled up like 10 fucking levels. I feel smarter. I feel lighter. I feel like my soul has more clarity in it. It's not as smoky as it was before. And I am also fantasizing about power, success, my intelligence. I want to be smart as fuck. I want to be on my deathbed and somebody can walk into that bedroom and hit me with some knowledge before I die. And that's it. That's what I wanted before I died. And you did it. Thank you.
You would think that that would be normal aspirations, right?
Right.
To level up.
Right. I mean, of course, all of these are to an extreme.
Right, but why not? Anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
Right. Oops.
If you can do something and level up in life and like get to that next level and be better at.
Right.
Be a better parent. Be
Yeah.
a better husband. Be a better mother. Be a better boss. Be a better friend. Be a better kayaker, rope climber, fucking, I don't know, tattoo artist, better whatever. Why wouldn't you be striving for that? Anything
Right.
that's not growing and that's sitting stagnant is on its deathbed. I think that should be a priority to everyone in life
I agree.
because everyone has room for improvement.
So when this can become a problem, like we said before, is when the action doesn't back it. I'm so overhearing a lot in the today's generation, a lot of men, I want to be a streamer, be a YouTuber, be a podcaster. And they dedicate all of their time to that, living out of their mom's house.
Do they dedicate all their time to it? How much time do they really dedicate to it? Because streaming video games, you're dedicating your time to playing video games while you're recording it.
Right.
That's not marketing.
No.
That's not learning new camera stuff. There's a whole lot of back end shit that's being neglected because you're too busy
Right.
playing video games to actually do the work.
So that's where that problem comes in, because they're focused on the video game. That's what they're doing, but they're speaking into existence. I'm going to take off. I have 1 million subscribers on Twitch, whatever. They're living as if their dream is their reality. And that's it.
Your chance of being a streamer is lower than your chance of meeting a narcissist.
I believe that.
If 480 million people are considered a narcissist based off the world's population, less than 400,000 people have one of those YouTube buttons.
That's, yeah.
8 billion people,
Yeah.
400,000 buttons
Right.
versus 8 billion people, 480 million
Excuse me.
narcissists.
Yep.
This shit, some people get lucky with it. I think
We got
did.
lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that we're anything special.
I don't either.
We got lucky with this shit. And now because we got a little bit of luck, we fucking dove in and tried to figure out the best ways to like make things work. But not everybody can do this.
Right.
I don't think that alone either one of us could do this. I think what works is our chemistry, the charisma that we have between each other,
Right.
and the content that we're creating.
Yeah.
And we built a community. And I
Right.
think that the community has also helped continue to grow the channel.
Do you want to know why I think this would have never taken off if it was just you or just me?
Why?
Because I never had the drive to do this. Never had the drive to do it. I mean, there was a point when I was like a late teen. I was like, oh, it'd be super cool to be on YouTube. But I never really like, all right, I'm going to do all the camera setups. I'm going to learn how to edit shit. No drive to do that. You had that.
Right.
You had the drive to do this, to make this happen. And you wanted the platform. And you tried it multiple times. I think we complement each other in that aspect, because I show up and I'm allowed to live my fucking comedic dream doing this shit. And you enjoy the process of making everything run. Like, this is our baby, but
Right. There's also a balance between you and I.
yeah, there is.
You are a very soft, true feminine, masculine. I am a no bullshit person.
Right.
And there are a lot of people who don't want to hear what I have to say because I am brash and I hurt their feelings. And you can say things a little bit nicer and they're going to hear it. Whereas the people who need to hear it coming from me will be like, yo, that's
I think I'm also no bullshit though.
right. But your delivery is different than mine.
Okay. I'm softer. That's it.
Right. Everyone has said that though. You are the balance to my aggression. We balance each other very well. And I think that also plays a part of it. You know how many people who want to be streamers that have a fucking $50 webcam, horrible quality, have no personality, like can't speak proper, have dirty laundry in the back of their room, have done no fucking work other than play video games and running their mouth and think they're going to get somewhere.
Yeah.
You look at every big streamer and look at their setup. Their camera quality is good. Their room is clean. Like they have good conversation with people. They've built a community. There is a certain personality type that it takes to get there.
Right.
I have tried this before. And it was not a podcast. It was literally just me vlogging. But with just me vlogging, I still had over 1,400 subscribers. A lot of people get on YouTube and go for a decade and don't break that.
Yeah.
So like I had the formula. I just didn't have the balance. So, but I also know that like I was very niche before in what I was doing. And now I'm all over the place. I am all over the place now. Like,
What do you mean?
Well, before I was doing a lot of like motivational workout shit. Or like I was talking about my weight loss journey, or I was reviewing supplements. It wasn't like I was making content. It was I'm driving in my truck talking shit.
Right.
So things have changed. Like obviously we have a fucking podcast room. We have multiple podcast rooms and we're working on a studio and like there's a lot happening right now, but the quality is different. Like I'm not doing a little point and shoot camera. I have almost $30,000 in camera gear. Like there's a lot.
We literally have a set in our house.
2.
Yeah, 2.
Technically 3 if you count the split room.
Right.
It's a lot. But when we first started doing this, we went into this hard. Like I soundproofed the room, bought a table for it. Like I'd set the computers up, bought all the cameras. We weren't using webcams.
No.
So, or our phone, although our phone would be better quality than a webcam.
Number 3 is exaggerating achievements and abilities or just outright lying about them. Making up fantasies to overinflate who they are as a person to seem more important.
Okay.
I've done that in the past. I was definitely a white liar. I grew up in an environment where no matter what I said, I was wrong. So I learned to, even if I thought I can get in trouble for it, like I spilled water on the floor and somebody walked through the room and they noticed that I just cleaned up water. Did you spill water on the floor? No. Nothing happened. No. I didn't spill any water. What are you talking about? And of course, over time, as I matured as a being, my lying matured with me. And I came to lie about greater things. And then I recognized how exhausting it is to lie and to have to cover your tracks and have people be mad at you. I don't hold back the truth on anything anymore. I've never exaggerated achievements or abilities. I will jokingly be like, I'm super fucking good at pool. I know I'm good at pool. Chess, not good at chess. Not like I thought I was. When you actually play a man who knows how to play chess versus playing in a high school club, it's different.
That comes down to arrogance versus humility, though.
Yeah.
Because even if you were a fucking master chess player, you shouldn't boast about it. There's a sin in that. It's your pride.
Yeah.
I'm really big on that humility thing.
I don't know. Earlier in the truck, you looked at me and you're like, you might actually be a threat Friday night for poker. And I looked at you and I was like, I will be a threat.
Right. So that's in playful conversation, and there's a confidence behind that.
Yeah,
that
I mean it.
You could even be like trying to hype yourself up. I think that's different than running around talking to people about how great you are. Muhammad Ali, everybody, come see how great I am.
But the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Like I don't like that.
I've never done that.
I understand the mentality behind what he was doing. It was mind games and it was tactical. It's like all psyops. Like
Getting attention.
I get it, but I don't like those people. Like I don't want to hear you boast about how great you are. If you are really fucking good at something, that's cool.
Yeah.
But who gives a shit? Tell me what you're bad at. What are you working on? Where are your goals? Like
Chess.
yeah. What are your rooms for improvement? Like
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I'm really good at breathing. I do it every day, all day long. But I don't run bragging about how great I'm a breather. Like
Number 4 is constantly seeking attention.
Instagram models.
Oh, Snapchat, private Snapchat shit.
Yeah.
Facebook. All of it. OF. The pick me girls, like I said.
So, well, I mean, you're a pick me girl according to the internet.
Picked by you.
I mean, that's what I say. You're a pick me. That was a year of your life you were being called a pick me.
Yeah, they still call me a pick me. I'm having women now because I've been calling out a lot of women's bullshit on TikTok. And a lot of women are going, oh, you're giving me pick me vibes. You're just bashing women. Yes, I'm bashing women. That doesn't make me a pick me. If I see a woman saying some shit out of the side of her neck that is not conductive to society, it's actually hurting women. What is the point of that?
So what you're saying is you're supposed to support people's poor behavior patterns to not be a pick me.
Correct.
So you're supposed to allow and not call out shitty behavior.
Right.
So this goes, you're walking down the street and you see a man backhand a woman, you shouldn't stop and defend that woman because you'd be a pick me if you did, right? Like, come on. Probably not the best example there, but like the point of that is that you're supposed to turn away from bad behavior or be called a pick me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fuck that. Call people on their bullshit.
Yeah.
That was definitely not the right example to give. I hear how stupid that sounds now as I'm replaying it back in my head, and I regret saying it, but I'm not going to cut it because it's there.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah, because sometimes you misspeak.
Yeah.
It happens.
It does happen.
I own it.
Do you want to clarify?
I just did. No. The point,
like give another example? Or?
No.
Okay.
No, because I gave the bad example.
Yeah. You're just going to take it?
The point was still made.
Yeah.
It is turning away from bullshit.
Right.
And supporting, versus going, you really fucked up.
Right.
This is not okay. This is not right. And then you being called a pick me because you're calling out other people's bad behavior.
Yeah. Y'all can call me whatever you want to call me. My life's great. I'm happy. I'm flourishing. I'm growing. I made a note in my phone a while back in regards to people calling a pick me. And I want to say it's all of my opinions. I'm not saying are right. It is not the way to live life to be happy. I'm just saying some of the things that I've heard from the guys in the comments who call me a pick me. I would rather be living this life.
You have guys calling you a pick me?
I meant girls.
Oh.
Everybody's guys. Everybody's a dude.
Right. I get that. Everybody's a kid to me.
Yeah.
I get that. You could be 50 years old and you're a kid.
Yeah.
Unless you're old, then you're my elder. But like, if we're equal ages or like close to equal ages or you're younger than me, you're a kid.
I've heard you call people a cat.
Have you?
Yeah.
I think that's because I hate the dog phrase. Like, you remember people like, what up, dog? Like, the whole man's best friend thing. I hate that shit. It drives me fucking nuts.
Huh.
Yep. So I opted for cats instead. But I don't really use that term very often.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I do, though, because you've heard me say it.
I have.
That's funny.
Yeah. Number 5 is being sensitive to stress.
Oh, no. It's fucking everyone.
That's literally this entire generation.
Yeah.
Time blindness. Number 6, inflated sense of entitlement. Inflated sense says everything it says about that. Mm-hmm. Number 7, obsession with class and status. Wanting to be viewed as a Donald Trump, for example. There's a couple of instances of women who have lied their way, like, I'm an heiress, and they're hanging out with the fucking royal court and shit. Like, they have lied their way into millionaires clubs and whatnot. They've inflated their class and their status because they're obsessed with being viewed as somebody who's important. Number 8.
I can see how that would be a problem.
Okay.
But why would you not want to level up?
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be lower class.
I
was low. I've been homeless, being out of garbage cans. Like, I've had to wear clothes that I stole out of a fucking box. Like, I understand what it is to not have shit. But like, I don't want to ever do that again. That would suck ass.
Yeah.
So I work fucking hard to try to level up. I'm not upper echelon by any means. Like, I'm not even fucking close to that, but I want to be. Mm-hmm. Does that give me narcissistic tendencies because I want to be better? If that's the case, everyone watching this podcast who wants to excel at things in your life, you are a narcissist by that.
Well, of course, it comes to an extreme.
Right. I get
that.
Well,
all of these can be applied to just basic human beings.
That's my point.
Right.
That's exactly my point.
That's why this whole time I've been saying it's all to an extreme.
Right.
Okay.
The point of this, though, is the amount of women and men who call their exes narcissists,
Right.
not realizing that such a small percentage of people are actually narcissists.
It's the whole point I'm doing this video.
Right. And every one of these people who have used that term fall into these categories.
Yeah.
I'm riding with you, babe. Because otherwise I'd be sitting here while you're reading the list.
I know.
Okay.
Number 8 is they believe others are envious of them. I don't believe it. I know people are envious of me.
You're just jealous. They're just jealous.
Who's jealous?
I don't know.
Oh.
That's what they would tell you. That's what they say.
I know people are
You're
envious
just
of me.
jealous.
I know people are envious of you
Why?
because we have each other.
Oh, yeah. They're envious of our relationship, though. At least that's the way I look at it. I don't think that people are envious of me. I
Okay,
think they
then-
want what we have.
Then I'm going to tell you some comments that I've read.
Okay.
I have seen men outright say, I wish I was him
Why?
because you have me. People are envious of you.
So what they're saying is, though, is that they're not that they want to be me. It's what they're saying is that they want you. Because that's what that is. That has nothing to do with being me, because that's only a 1% of my
Right.
life. So what they're saying in that statement is that they want you and they wish that they had you,
Right.
not that they wish that they were me so they could have you.
There was also another person, I told you about this one, they're envious of the podcast.
Yeah, well, of course.
And they're envious of you.
I got nothing on that one because I have to be very cautious in that conversation.
Okay.
And I'm still very angry about all of that. So
I think number 8 treads into that higher narcissistic tendency when it becomes, bro, no one's envious of your 1985 broke down car. Like, relax. Nobody's envious of you still living at your parents' house at 28. Bring yourself down a little bit.
yeah.
Nobody's envious of you over the fact that you maybe verbally abuse your wife. Number 9 is great pride and accomplishments of children or family. And prior, I said that they view them as objects or an extension of themselves, like an arm or a leg, and not their own individual person.
Yeah. That one I can see being a problem.
Yeah.
Like all around, because of the amount of parents who abuse their kids to live through their kids' achievements.
Yes.
Yeah. That's problematic.
And number 10 expects constant praise and recognition. Everything. You didn't say, hey, babe, you didn't thank me for taking the trash out. I also view, okay, so for me, expecting constant praise and recognition, I could also view that as how people say they want a thank you for the bare minimum. With that narrative of I shouldn't have to thank them for the bare minimum.
I haven't heard that term in a while.
I think because people have realized we're pissed off about it.
Yeah, I think so, because I haven't seen that in email in a hot minute, which means people that were watching the email saw those episodes and were like, maybe we shouldn't say that.
Right. So, devil's advocate, if a woman is saying, I shouldn't have to thank him for the bare minimum, he's being narcissistic, when in reality, he just wants some appreciation because after working a long day and coming home, he might help you around the house a little bit. No, he lives here too. He's narcissistic.
To which his response would be, no, you're just an ungrateful bitch. And now there's conflict in the house.
Right.
Oh, man.
Number 11, unrealistic goal setting.
We've gotten 3 shirt orders since we sat down.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder why I haven't received any emails.
I don't know, but before you get into that, let's do some plugging, because we've really been neglecting a lot of that. So
Okay.
first and foremost, guys, the his and her shirts are on the website. By the time this goes live, we should still have some, because we ordered an abundance of shirts. Our living room looks like an assembly line. There's literally boxes running all the way around the living room.
Yeah.
We have sticker packs on the website now. That's all up. That's the website is the number 2bebetter.co. The other thing that I wanted to go over, guys, is we still have a Patreon. We have not been pushing Patreon nearly as hard as we used to because people were complaining about it. And like, I didn't want to feel like I was just trying to push you guys to support us and join our shit. But our Patreon community is fucking dope. We have over 900 people in Discord. We've got men's and women's groups going on.
We're over 1,000 people.
Is it over 1,000 now?
I think we're at almost 1,200.
Yeah, we put out almost daily vlogs, multiple times a week. I do it. I think I might try to be a daily vlogger. I think I might try to actually do it daily and just put it out to everyone.
Yeah.
And then do like the really intense ones and private life ones to Patreon. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but we do exclusive content. There are some times where we do early release stuff. Patreon gets early release drops for clothing or anything that we do. In the event that we want to outsource something, we outsource through Discord before we outsource through anything else.
Yep.
Guys, if nothing else, just go check out the Patreon community. $5 is a thank you. $10 gets you early release and exclusive content. $15 gets you Discord, exclusive weekly live streams, which is a much smaller. I think there's only like 60 to 70 people that show up for those live streams, so it's a lot more interactive. And then the $20 tier gets your partner in so that you guys can have both of you in Discord, and they can see all the content that we post as well. There's a lot of value there. I when we first started doing that, I didn't think that it was right that we were asking for even what we were asking, and like I had imposter syndrome and a whole lot of problems there. But seeing the way that people are leveling up their fucking lives in the Discord and the community that we've built, that value is fucking there, and it's less than $1 a day.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is. So did you hear number 11? Should I just go on, or?
Can you reread it? Because I don't remember what you said.
So number 11 is unrealistic goal setting.
Okay.
So
Do you have an example for that?
example, someone with zero savings, living paycheck to paycheck. I'm going to go talk to a bank about getting a loan for a house.
Hear that all the time. I almost don't want to keep doing this in terms of like interrupting you and like having these things, but I have points that I want to make that I think are valuable information to people.
Why wouldn't you make them?
Because it's just going to draw out the conversation. That whole scenario, the unrealistic goal setting, I want to have a minimum of $2.5 million in the bank.
Yeah.
That's one of my goals. Our current situation is not conducive to that, because of debt and the way that we've been moving money, trying to grow businesses, and like you have to sacrifice to get where you want to go. That's normal. I don't think that that's an unrealistic goal. I think that's a long-term goal.
That's the difference between you and somebody with that high level of narcissistic tendency and that trait.
Right. So the point that I was going to make though is that having that unrealistic goal, make that a long-term goal, and then start making short-term goals. I'm going to get a raise at work. I'm going to start taking 10% of everything I make and put it into a savings account, and that 10% is mine for retirement. Because I know that if I don't put that 10% away and actually save that money, I will never get to my long-term goal. If I put the 10% away and save for retirement and an opportunity comes up where I can then invest in something that I believe is going to make money, and I can take half of my 10% savings and invest it, take my first investment payments and repay that 10%, you're basically taking loans out for yourself. That long-term goal no longer looks like an unrealistic goal. It looks like something that you're climbing a ladder to get to. The difference in that is that long-term goal and the work ethic to get there, like you said.
Yeah.
So if you have those long-term goals that you believe are unreasonable and you think that you might be a narcissist, start setting small-term goals. Have a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plan. Have a 10-year plan. I can tell you from experience that 5 and 10 year plan don't fucking matter. It don't. It's just something that you could work to, because if you're on your game, your 5 year plan could happen in 3 years, or things could change completely and your 5 year plan could go completely out the window. My 5 year plan was destroyed by Hurricane Ian.
Yeah.
Like literally our life turned a totally different direction after the hurricane, and everything that I wanted to do in my 5 year plan, I don't want to do anymore at all. So I have a whole new goal set, and I'm working in different avenues to get to different points, but none of my goals are unrealistic.
Right.
If I told you I wanted to be a billionaire, I don't believe that that's unrealistic. I believe that if I work hard enough, I could get that. But that's the work ethic in me. Will it ever happen? It probably not.
But get close to it.
That doesn't change the fact that I believe I can do that shit.
Right.
You remember? Well, I guess I can't say do you remember, because I don't. Your childhood was your childhood, and so was mine. But we used to hear all the time, you can be anything you want to be when you grow up. You want to be an astronaut? You can be an astronaut. You want to be a neurologist? You can be a neurologist. You want to be a neurosurgeon? You can do that too. You can literally do anything you want to be when you grow up. That's not a thing anymore. Parents tell their kids to be realistic. That's not realistic. Let's hinder that creative thinking. Let's go ahead and just suppress them now and make them feel like they're not worthy of much. You just put that right in front of your face.
Oh, I heard a lot. You can't be a stay-at-home mom.
Right. Who's going to support you?
Man can't support you. Number 13. Oh, number 12. I apologize. Number 12 is inability to listen to others. So I'm going to take number 5, which was being sensitive to stress, and number 12, the inability to listen to others. I'm going to apply that to ADHD. So that is one mental disorder that mimics 2 points or 2 symptoms that can also come from narcissistic personality disorder. Number 13, lack of awareness regarding others. To a certain extent, that could fall into other mental illnesses as well. I have, majority of the time, zero spatial awareness. I am constantly bumping into shit. I have bruises all over my body. And there are times like the other day or yesterday, I was walking behind you and like I got a little bit lightheaded and you weren't, I thought you were further away than you were. And I bumped your shit. That is a lack of awareness regarding you. I was in my own bubble. Are you processing or?
I'm just listening to you. I don't have anything to add to that one.
Number 14 is exploiting others for personal gain. I don't know, recording all of the fights that happen at Walmart and posting it on TikTok for views.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. But you know, that's also one of those things that sometimes business can be very cutthroat.
Right.
And people will step on other people to get ahead. Like that's a nastiness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that makes you a narcissist. I think that it makes you cutthroat.
Yeah.
You just, I mean, that's just a shitty thing. I don't see how that could fall into being self-centered. I guess maybe it could though, because you're out for yourself, but who isn't?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that falls in line with snitches. You know how people get fucking arrested and want to tell on their friends, their best friends, their brothers, and like fucking roll over and like, because it's self-preservation.
Yeah. Number 15 is lacking empathy for perceived weakness.
I have that.
I have that as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Zero empathy for a workless, for example.
Same. Yep.
Number 16, a strong desire for control over relationships.
Don't have that at all.
Don't have that either. That is something I used to have when I was very insecure in myself and my abandonment would kick in really hard. I would try to exude control over the relationship, but I'm not narcissistic. Got BPD.
Right.
17, envy or hatred for those with a perceived higher status. So when I was younger, we used to go on car rides through the expensive beach houses and like the Keys or whatever. What's that one area? Jerry Springer has a house over there. It's like an hour from here.
Boca Grande?
I think so.
Okay.
We used to drive around and it would be conversations of fuck these people. We deserve this.
You don't though.
Right.
They earn that shit.
Right. So that could also fall into that insecurity of, I know I'm not doing enough to be there.
Was your parents a part of that conversation?
Yes.
How much different do you think your life would be if when you were like, fuck these people, they said, wait a minute. And they pulled the car over.
Right.
And they got out and like, look at that house. That house probably has 7 bedrooms in it. Look at all the big ass glass. It's a nice house, right? And you were like, yeah, it's a really nice house. You know that they had to work for that. They had to put in a whole lot of time and like they probably missed out on birthdays and graduations and like they went to school for a long fucking time and they did a whole lot of work to earn that house.
Yeah.
And your parents instilled that work ethic in you and was like, if you really want that, you can fucking do that shit. You can have that. I made a lot of bad choices in my life. Therefore, I didn't go do that because I didn't have people believing in me the way that I believe in you.
Right.
I will never allow our kids to talk like that. Ever.
Me
I
either.
will fucking end that shit immediately.
Yeah.
I'll pull this car over.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, man.
I wouldn't be the person I am today if that was my childhood.
I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I didn't have that you can do it either.
Yeah.
I had that I fucking want this. There was an envy in me. Like, I want to have what they have, but I don't hate them for having it. Why would I hate somebody for doing something that I can do myself?
I mean, that's the logical mindset to have.
Right. Well, and that's my brain, unfortunately. Right. It's a conflict with us sometimes because I logic brain everything.
Yeah.
You're like, damn it, I just need you to emotional brain for 5 fucking minutes. Okay, hang on. All right, I got it. Go.
I don't talk to him like that.
No, she really doesn't. You can see it in her face, though. You absolutely can see it in her face.
Can you?
Yeah. Yeah. I have gotten better about doing the holding you thing.
You
when you're
have.
crying.
You really have. And I've gotten better about not turning away.
Yeah. Yeah. When you like talking to me,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'm also okay, a lot more okay than I thought I would ever be with snot. Yeah. I really thought that would be one of those things that like grossed me out. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. It's weird.
He really made you for me. Like,
I wore that shirt all day yesterday with snot on it. I gave 0 fucks. I changed my shirt right before we went live. I don't give a fuck. What does that say about my hygiene? Man.
it's not like I snobbered all over you.
There was snot all over that shirt. It was up here. It was down here. There was some down here. I don't know how that happened, but you could see it. You're having a rough day yesterday, and you were congested.
How much did I cry
A
yesterday?
lot.
I remember sitting in the bathroom, dry heaving, crying, texting my aunt. Yesterday was a mess.
It was.
I love those experiences for me, though.
Do you?
I do.
I don't love those experiences with you.
I don't. I hate experiencing them in the moment.
Right.
Looking back, I would go through that 100 times to have the knowledge that I have now.
Right. But you're able to dissect that.
Right.
And process through it, where most people just continue to go, God, why is this my life?
Yeah.
God's looking down and be like, you see what else you got? This is what you're going to, why is this my life? You see everything else I've given you?
Right.
He puts you on mute when you do that shit. I believe he's got the click remote. From,
Do you think he picks it up, just takes a little peek to listen again? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll try again in 30 days.
Still complaining? Mute.
Yeah.
Subtitles. So you can just look over and be like, yeah, I don't need to hear that shit.
Click. I love you.
I love you too, but why did you say that?
Because yesterday was a very big turning point for me. And I think me telling you that I was splitting and having that whole interaction afterwards is what fixed it. I think me bringing you in on what's going on with me inevitably made you closer to me.
That was one of the most difficult things I've ever had to hear you say. The splitting thing, because
believe that.
I knew in that moment you didn't want me around, because that's splitting is from one extreme to another, and to go from having that like love and intense care and all of that shit to having a splitting episode and you being like, I'm splitting with you right now because I've experienced splitting. I'm like, fuck. Abandonment through the fucking roof.
I mean, could you tell that I've been splitting though?
I could tell that you've been off. I mean, you've had a lot of shit going on. Like your personal life that does not involve me has been a fucking lot. It's why I've been there but not there.
Right.
Like I'm not going to be up your ass while you're trying to process your shit. It's going to make things worse.
Mm-hmm.
That alone time to journal and meditate and pray and figure out what you're doing to like, people need that.
Yeah.
I'm not a coddle person. If I'm going through something, I'm isolating and work through my shit and then come back afterwards and we're going to talk about it. And because that's the way I process my shit when other people are going through things, that's my natural. That's why when I can tell you're going through it, I just kind of leave you alone.
I also try to seclude myself because I'm going through the emotions that I'm going through. I didn't identify it as splitting until it came across on my TikTok, and I was like, I should probably Google that. And I identified it, and that's when I let you know what was going on.
It is what it is. It's life.
I don't feel that way anymore, though.
It's good.
It was like that for a week. Thank you for having that conversation with me yesterday. I was really scared in telling you everything that was happening with me. And I was scared me telling you that was going to push you away further. And I knew if that would happen, that would worsen it. But I had enough faith in you that you would understand. It was really hard. I'm sorry that was so hard for you to hear.
It is what it is. I mean, I needed to know what was going on. If you didn't have that conversation with me, you'd still be going through it. So.
Number 18 is distant, practical manner in personal relationships. I do that. I talk to my kid's dad like I'm sending off a professional email.
But that's not a personal relationship anymore.
I think to a certain extent it is.
Yeah.
You know, we have conversations of parenting the kids and we share opinions on things. I wouldn't have a relationship with him otherwise, so I do view it as a personal relationship.
I think that because you wouldn't have a relationship with him otherwise, it's not a personal relationship.
No.
Personal relationship would mean that even if you didn't have kids, you two would still be close because you want to be there. You want to have that relationship with them.
All right, so my whole example's nixed.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I view that. There are people that I talk to because I have to, not because I want to. And there's a difference.
Yeah.
You can be civil with everyone and be a good person. Doesn't mean that you got to be fucking homies with them.
Right. I tried to search like an example of that, but it really wasn't describing what it looks like for those conversations to be like in a personal relationship that's distant and practical. And number 19.
You say distance and impractical or?
Distant and practical. Crying has me congested again.
Being distant in personal relationships. I mean, that technically could fall into splitting. Like that could mimic a whole lot of things.
You know, I'm just thinking, all of my friendships are, you'll hear from me maybe once every 2 weeks.
Right. But that also comes down to a non-necessity for social interactions.
Yeah.
That comes down to I have 2 kids and a
Right.
fucking business and a husband who has other businesses, who's trying to open more businesses. And I have to do the home wife thing. And like, that's life. Sometimes you don't have time to do shit. I make it a point to reach out to people and talk to them when I think about them.
I do that too.
Because those are genuine. Like, hey man, you're on my mind right now. Or, hey, what do you think about this? You know what I mean? And I have my go-to for things, but like that circle shifts, right? Because trying to think of how I can word this. I don't know if this is a mental illness thing. I don't know if this is just a me being a me thing. But I am one of those people that I will have a relationship with people until they start doing things that I strongly disagree with, and then I distance myself.
Yep, I do that too.
So in that scenario, is that thing? Because I will still have a personal relationship with them, like we're cool,
right.
but I disagree with so much of what you're doing that like I just don't really want you around me. Or like you did this and I'm really bothered that you did this, and because you haven't atoned for it in some way or another, like I just can't really be involved with you like that. Like I can't fuck with you anymore. I don't know. I am that person that when somebody lets me down and that my faith in them has been broken, it's very hard for them to regain that spot back in my life.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? And a lot of that comes down to accountability. If you don't have the accountability and I don't see change in your behavior, I'm not going to have you around to bite me twice. Like I'm good on that.
I'm the same way. Just recently, I found out that someone who I considered a friend was talking shit about the podcast and all these kinds of things. And this person does not know that I know. I have not said anything.
No point.
There is no point, but now I know.
Yep. But you won't get bit twice.
No. So now there is a distance there.
Yep.
We're not going to hang out like we used to. You're not going to get that joking, funny side of me anymore. I will greet you. I will shake your hand.
Yeah, I won't shake your hand.
I'll
be very cordial.
Yeah.
And you won't know that I know. Motherfucker, I know. I ain't shaking your hand no more.
Yeah.
Nope.
I would still shake your hand.
Nope, not me.
I view that as a power play.
I see that as a respect thing.
Yeah.
Yep, I ain't shaking your hand unless I respect you.
I would still shake that hand while upholding my boundary of you're not getting that access to me anymore. I view that as a power play, as I know what you said and I am still willing to shake your hand, but you're not going to get that side of me anymore. Number 19, can write off friends permanently over small or imagined issues.
That's my borderline.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll cut the motherfucker out of my life like I'm a butcher.
That's why it takes me so long to cut people out of my life. Because I don't know if it's logical or rational of me. That's why I have to assess the full situation.
Yeah.
That's why it took me so long to cut my mom out. So people with narcissistic personality disorder are at an increased risk of drug or alcohol abuse. And they're going to do that to withdraw from the fact that they can't face the reality of themselves. So being on a drug or constantly drinking helps them enter that headspace of, I'm great, everything's fine. It helps them mask the fucked up side of them. So what can mimic narcissistic personality disorder? Antisocial personality disorder, depression, PTSD, substance abuse like alcohol, ADHD, majority of anxiety disorders, and autism.
I wonder if, oh man, that last one. So, okay. So first of all, I wonder if children of alcoholic or drug addicted parents would fall into that category as well, because that fucks children up, right?
Right.
The last one in that, 1 in 200 people roughly is what they said that the narcissist thing was. Although now that I did the math on that number, I don't think it's right. I think it's much higher.
Yeah.
But with that being said, 1 in 36 people currently are being born on the spectrum to some degree.
Right.
Because of what we said earlier with our fucking food-like products and the shit that we're putting into our bodies.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, that really ups that number of why people could be called a narcissist, because there are so many people that fall under that spectrum to some degree.
Right.
I think that blanket term is a very dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Because it takes credibility away from what's really going on in somebody's life.
Yeah. You know, there was a very long time that, fuck it, I'm just going to say it. There was a very long time that I thought that my mom was a narcissist. And it turns out she was just an alcoholic with a lot of trauma, abandonment issues, things that have yet to be worked out. Alcoholism really does mimic narcissistic personality disorder pretty well. Like, I was doing this research and I was like, okay. I was really like questioning everything in my childhood. And then I came across that alcoholism can mimic it. And I was like, okay, that makes fucking perfect sense on everything. Because a mentally ill person addicted to alcohol.
Right.
Yeah.
Which creates depression because alcohol is a depressant.
Right.
Which then adds to that. Yeah, the childhood trauma, which then adds to that.
Yeah.
You add to the fact that most people have some form of the spectrum, like a lot of people do. That now adds to that.
Yeah.
So I think for when people, oh man, it's just a lot. It just adds more disdain for that word. I don't like buzzwords.
Me either. And I think,
Blanket statements.
yes, blanket statements. After doing all of this research, I will believe almost nobody when they tell me that they know a narcissist.
Right.
Unless they are clinically diagnosed or I can meet them in person and assess them.
Yeah.
I don't believe you. Are they an alcoholic? Are they addicted to something? Do they have ADHD? Are they on the spectrum? They don't listen to you well and they raise their voice when they get stressed out. I do that and I'm autistic. Come on.
Yeah.
Did you learn some things from this?
I learned that I still don't like that term. I did learn some things from it. I learned that on the symptom thing, I have all kinds of the symptoms,
Yeah.
but I don't meet the 5 out of 9 requirements to be a narcissist.
Right.
But my worldviews and my perception of reality is very different than that. Because when you just say those things and there's no reason behind it or there's no explanation behind it, the way things work in your brain,
Right.
I think everyone falls into that category.
I agree.
Especially like the goal one and the dreaming one and like the taking care of yourself thing and like making sure the self-preservation's there. Like there's a whole lot of things in there that would literally match everyone's lives, but it has to be to a very big extreme for it to actually be narcissistic personality disorder.
Right.
But now that I also know that like it said in the beginning that some of that could come from childhood trauma. I mean, almost everyone does at some point or another have some sort of fucked up childhood. So
I hope that whole thing is as cohesive as I wanted it to be.
yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. You want me to clip it, edit it, and you can watch it before we put it live?
No, I mean, I'll trust what you do on it.
All right, guys. With that being said, remember that you are the authors of your own life,
So grab a pen.
and we will catch you on the next one.
Bye, guys.